Today I'm going to show you one of the most disturbing Japanese urban legends. This is HEXES, and she is absolutely terrifying and kind of bad. The story goes that HEXES, or also known as Mrs. 8 Foot Tall, has an extremely deep voice, and her favorite thing to do is prey on children from the ages of 9 to 11. She appears as an 8 foot tall woman wearing a white dress with a white hat, and sometimes she'll wear no shoes or sandals. The way she attacks children is she'll stalk them for a few days, and once she's gotten comfortable staring at them, she then will take them from the family. You ready for the scariest part? There are actual eyewitness accounts of seeing this woman, and she can mimic the sound of your family's voices to help lure you in. If by some chance you ever encountered this demon, there's a couple ways you could get rid of her. The first way would have to be, you would have to do some sort of a ritual. The second way would basically be pouring salt all around your house. And the last one would be passing it on to somebody else. Basically, the story goes, the last person to receive this message and hear this story is the one that's affected. So by the story's traditions, if you hear this message and don't send it to somebody else or pass the story on, you would be the one she comes after. Look, I did my part. I shared it with you guys, so I'm good. Make sure to like and follow for more videos tomorrow.
This is maybe the scariest urban legend I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. Back in the 1970s, there was this terrifying fun house in Long Beach, California called The Laugh in the Dark. And there was always this urban legend that all the mannequins inside were fake, except for one. Also, mind you, this is what this week's episode is about, so if you don't want spoilers, just listen to the episode. This urban legend came to be because there was one mannequin inside that just looked wrong. All of the other ones looked fake, but this one in particular looked way too human. And a bunch of the kids also said the area that the mannequin was in just smelled really, really bad. So a few years go by, and one day a film crew comes in and is using Laugh in the Dark for a film set. The director's lining up a shot, and he just doesn't like the way this one mannequin looks in frame. So he goes over to a crew member and he's like, hey, can you just move this out of the shot? So the crew member goes over and starts moving the mannequin when its arm pops off. And inside of the mannequin's arm is human bone. The kids had been totally right. The mannequin was a mummified body. There's so much more to this story, like who the person was and how they got there, and I talk about the whole thing this week on the episode.
This disturbing chainmail haunted inboxes for years. Back in the early 2000s, countless people received a chilling message from a girl named Carmen Winstead. The message warned, if you don't share this with 15 people within 5 minutes, you will suffer the same fate I did. But who was Carmen Winstead? She was a 17-year-old girl who relocated to Indiana because of her dad's new job. Starting over wasn't easy for her. She missed her old friends and struggled to fit in until she became friends with this group of 5 girls. At first, everything seemed to be okay until Carmen learned that these girls were actually talking about her behind her back. They were saying disgusting things like Carmen was having an affair with the janitor, or that she would rub her snot on people when they weren't looking. Heartbroken and humiliated, she confronted them, but instead of stopping, those girls still mocked her. They called her names and they embarrassed her in front of the whole school. That day, Carmen decided that she was going to report them to a teacher, but she never got a chance. There was a fire drill after lunch. While the students were standing in the parking lot waiting, Carmen stood next to an open sewer. That's when the 5 girls spotted her. Laughing, they pushed her in just to embarrass her, but it wasn't just a prank. Carmen fell hard. Her body landed twisted at the bottom, her neck was broken, and her face was scraped off. When the teacher called her name, one girl giggled and said, "She's in the sewer." The teacher looked and saw Carmen's broken body, standing unnaturally still. Her face had been completely torn off. The teacher called the police. They interrogated the students, but the girls claimed that Carmen fell on her own. Therefore, the police ruled her death as an accident. But a few months later, strange posts started appearing on MySpace, claiming that her death was no accident. No one knew who wrote them. Then the girls started dying one by one. They all refused to take accountability for their disgusting actions. That's when the chainmail started to spread like crazy. It warned that if you ignored it, Carmen would come for you through a toilet, a sink, a shower drain, even in your sleep. And when she finds you, she will drag you in the drain and tear off your face to match hers. But if you obey and share her story, she might just protect you for the rest of your life.
I know where the woman from Turenza actually came from. If you guys haven't heard about this already, apparently on October 10th, of 2025, a woman landed at the New York International Airport and spoke to immigration there after she landed and showed them her passport, and they were confused because it said a country named Terenza that no one had ever heard about, and she was confused about where she was. And so the authorities took her in to question her and just ask her some questions, and then she ended up disappearing. And this is very, very similar to a story we heard about like 20 years ago with the man from Taured. Is pretty much exactly the same. And we already know where the man from Taured actually came from. He's from beyond the ice wall. We solved this mystery 2 years ago. There's a continent down past the second ring that says New Taured. He must have flown in there, or his plane must have gone through one of the many Aurora Borealis portals that are in the air. But we gotta figure out, where is this woman from? To figure out where she came from, we need to look at the German flat earth ice wall map that was from World War II. They mapped out the entire Earth based on a reflection of the moon. And so on this, we can see our continents, but we can also see secret continents that are in our very oceans. So when we look at our own map, we just see a huge ocean full of empty water, no continents. But the truth is, there actually is land over there, and our pilots don't fly over those areas because they have specific flight.
Yeah, if I was him, I would run, because that is a pachang. Or the pachang is a ghost that is related to the Malay mythology. It is the soul of a deceased person who is doomed to walk the earth because of unfinished business. According to Malay funeral practices, the body has to be tied in several different places to stay intact. The knots are usually not removed until the body is put in the grave. The pachang actually does age. One thing that doesn't really make me scared of this legend is the fact that the pachang doesn't walk or run, it hops, like a bunny rabbit. I believe they also drink blood. They do so to drain the life force of anyone who they become in contact with. A woman in Indonesia was home alone on a dark, creepy night. She gazed out through the window to look over to the tall grass to see this thing hopping towards her house. At first, she thought it was an animal as it hopped towards her house, but then she gazed a little more to see that it was actually a pachang, on its way to drain the life force out of her. There is a legend that says you can awaken a pachang. If you can avoid the pachang until sunrise, you will gain some type of good luck or something like that. But let me know if you guys think I should try this on live stream.
Yo, something weird is happening with the Super Bowl and plane crashes, and it's creeping people out. 2 separate planes crashed right after it was announced that the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs were going to the Super Bowl. Coincidence? Maybe, but it gets stranger. One plane from Kansas crashed near runway 33, yes. The number 33, one of the most mysterious numbers in history. And then, the next day, a plane crashed in Philly. But here's where it gets chilling. Philadelphia's mascot, an eagle, which also represents America itself, and the Kansas City Chiefs represent Native American history, a culture deeply tied to ancient rituals. 2 years ago, these same teams met at the Super Bowl during Rihanna's halftime show, and she flashed a symbol that people link to secret societies. Oh, and her label, Rockefeller Records, like the powerful Rockefeller family. These are all conspiracy theories that people tie together. And now, with these back-to-back plane crashes, some people are wondering, is there something bigger at play with the Super Bowl, or is it just bad luck, a strange pattern, or something more sinister? Yo, jump in the comments. Let me know the Super Bowl's on Sunday. Drop a football in the comments if you're still gonna watch. Let me know who y'all rooting for, and make sure y'all follow for more daily, spooky, scary, true crime, horrific, conspiracy type stories every single day. I'll see y'all.
They say if you visit this bridge in Fairfax County, Virginia on Halloween night, you might encounter a lunatic in a bunny costume carrying an axe. This is the terrifying urban legend of the Bunny Man. It all started in 1904 when the residents of Clifton complained about an insane asylum being too close to their town. Eventually, the asylum got shut down and the inmates were loaded onto a bus to be transported to another facility. Somehow the driver lost control and crashed deep into the woods. The inmates saw this as an opportunity to escape, and they took it. Authorities searched the area and managed to recover every inmate except for one. His name was Douglas Griffin, and he was the most dangerous of them all. He had been admitted to the asylum because he murdered his entire family, and now he was on the loose. Weeks passed and people started finding skinned rabbit corpses hanging from trees. It's believed that Douglas was eating them to stay alive and may have even used their fur for his suit. Soon, sightings of a deranged man in a bunny suit wielding an axe began popping up around town. According to legend, one Halloween night, a group of teenagers went to the bridge for fun, but they never came back home. Their bodies were later found mutilated and strung up beneath the bridge, just like the rabbits. Since then, it's said that the Bunny Man returns every Halloween and uses his axe on anyone that gets too close. But here's where things get creepy. There were actual police reports of a maniac terrorizing people in a bunny suit carrying an axe. The first incident happened on October 19, 1970, when a couple was sitting in their car and they noticed a man in a bunny suit appear in their rear view mirror. They didn't even have time to react. The man threw a hatchet through their window and started screaming at them to leave. The second incident happened 10 days later when a security guard reported seeing a man in a bunny suit standing on a porch of a house that was still under construction, threatening him with an axe, telling him that he needed to leave because he was trespassing. Both incidents made the local news, and ever since, people have wondered if the Bunny Man's actually real or if he's just a hoax. What do you guys think?
Today I'm going to show you the scariest things on the internet. We've all heard of urban legends like Bigfoot, Yeti, the Loch Ness Monster, but what we're about to show you today is so disturbing that not even America tries to find these things. I'm going to be focusing on Japanese urban legends, and it's about to get real very quickly. I found this list on the internet, and as you can see at the top, these are like the not so scary ones, but I'm going to focus on this one. This is Kashima Reiko, or also known as the Curse of Teke Teke. The story goes that Kashima was a very lonely girl and she didn't have many friends, so she wanted to, She made her way to a railroad track and decided to jump in front of the train where it severed her body. Kashima was split into two, but she didn't die. In fact, she spent some time crawling around looking for the lower half of her body. The legend states that once you find out about this story, you have exactly 3 days before Kashima comes to your house to try and steal your legs, or the lower half of your body in general. And basically, if you don't want her to get you, you gotta share this with somebody else. I mean, this is just the story, I'm just explaining it. But let's be real though, she's pretty terrifying.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
It went to both.
Yeah.
If you hear this sound, you're doomed. That's the call of Hachishaku-sama, a yokai from Japanese folklore, otherwise known as the 8-foot-tall woman. She's thought to be a vengeful spirit with great strength and speed, who mostly hunts children to devour their souls. But if you get in her way, she might come for you too. It's said that she's impossibly tall, but can trick her victims by taking on the form of a loved one. According to the legends, the best way to identify her is to see if she's wearing a long white dress and a wide-brimmed hat. But once she has you fooled, she'll shapeshift into this ghastly specter with long, black, unkempt hair, pale skin, dead eyes, and a twisted smile before she takes you away to your doom. And she may have already been watching you, as Hachishaku-sama is said to spend weeks and months watching her prey before she makes her move. And the only warning you'll get is this sound. Now, the lore says that Hachishaku-sama is impossible to defeat, but there are some ways to ward her off. The most popular being is to place salt-filled bowls in each corner of your home. You'll know she's close when the salt turns black. And no matter what, don't open your door for anyone or anything, even if they sound like family. And if you can make it until sunrise the next day, you'll survive. But the better option is to just avoid being in Japan altogether so she doesn't get you. Do you think you could survive Hachishaku-sama? Make sure to like and follow for more folklore and legends.
If you're watching this while babysitting late at night and you're scared of clowns, I suggest you keep scrolling. This is the story about the clown statue. One night, a couple wanted to go out on a dinner date, so they hired a babysitter to take care of their 2 kids. But before they left, they told the babysitter she could make herself at home after she put the kids in bed. and if she could please watch some TV in their bedroom since the kids had been having nightmares lately. And if they wake up screaming, she could just easily run in there real quick and calm them down. The babysitter agreed and did just that. She put the kids to bed and walked into their room and sat down. That's when she saw a creepy clown statue standing in the corner of the room. She tried to ignore it and continue to watch TV, but she was just so disturbed by its presence that it sent chills down her spine. It was almost like she could feel its eyes on her, and this freaked her out so much that finally she decided to go downstairs and call the parents. The dad answers and she tells him, hey, everything's fine, but is it okay if I watch TV downstairs instead? The dad is like, sure, but why? She was like, I know this sounds stupid, but the clown statue is really creeping me out. And the dad was like, what clown statue? And the girl says, the clown statue in your bedroom. There was silence for a second, followed by the dad saying, listen to me carefully, take the kids and get out of the house. We will call the police. The girl asks, what's wrong? And the dad replies with, we don't have a clown statue. She runs upstairs, grabs the kids, and goes outside to wait for the police. When she looked up, she saw the clown peeking through the blinds. When the police arrived, they entered the home and found a man dressed in a clown costume with a knife in his pocket. It turned out he was an escaped maniac convicted of murder. He had been stalking this family for months, hiding in their attic during the day and would only come out in the nighttime to lurk around their house. For weeks, the kids had been complaining about a clown statue in their room, but their parents only brushed it off as nightmares.
If you hear about this creature, you're doomed. This is the legend of Teki Teki. The story goes that many years ago, a Japanese girl tragically got stuck on train tracks and was split in half by an oncoming train. In her final moments after this accident, she cried out to help to anyone walking by, but nobody stopped to help. And now her vengeful spirit roams the train yards and the streets of Japan, seeking revenge against humanity. And it's said that even though she no longer has her lower half, she's incredibly strong and moves around with her hands and elbows. And as she skitters around, her nails make this tick-tick-tick sound, hence the name. Now, if you see Teki Teki and you think you can outrun her, you're out of luck. Because according to legend, Teki Teki can run so fast that she can keep up with speeding cars. And if you do hear about Teki Teki, you become cursed, and within 3 days, she'll appear within your dreams, or you'll get a random phone call. She'll give you a riddle and ask, do you need your legs? If you answer right, maybe she'll leave you alone. But if the answer's wrong, she'll find you and slice you in half, stealing your legs for her own. But what do you think? Make sure to leave a comment and let me know what you want to hear about next.
All the cryptids, the one that I think could be real is the Jersey Devil, because there have been thousands of reports that have been well documented. I mean, the Jersey Devil has been seen since the 1700s. And these stories and these reports were published in so many newspaper articles. And still to this day, you ask the people near the Pine Barrens, they will tell you the Jersey Devil is real. Now, this is a story from 1998. There was this woman named Deborah. And Deborah said that she was young, she had this boyfriend, they had fell into rough times, so they had a friend who owned some land next to the Pine Barrens, and they let them park their RV there and live in it. And she said from time to time, living out in the woods, you would hear weird sounds or you would see animals, but for the most part it wasn't that bad. She said then one night she had let her dogs out. And all of a sudden she hears her dogs outside barking at something, like they had smelled the scent of something. So she goes outside of the RV and she's yelling to her dogs, come here, where are you? And she said she could see her 2 dogs in front of her, but she sees up in the sky this black shadowy figure just come down, take her dog, and pick it up and carry it off into the air. And at the time, she said she thought it was like an owl or a large bird or something. So she's freaking out. She's screaming you know, her dog's name. She gets the other dog, puts it in the RV. She calls for her boyfriend, and they go out in the woods and they're looking for this dog. They cannot find it anywhere. The next day, they go back out into the woods to look for this dog. They notice this one tree, there's like red stuff running down it. Well, they look up in the tree, and there is the dog. And it has been ripped apart into 2 pieces, and it's hanging from the tree. And they said this was a German Shepherd. It was, 98 pounds. So whatever it was had to be very big that carried this thing off, right? So after that, she was very cautious with leaving the dogs out at night. She didn't like to be outside at night. And she said a few nights she would, come home later at night, and she was bringing some groceries in. And she would hear strange sounds like screams coming from the woods, and she would hurry up and run inside the RV. But she said the creepiest encounter with this thing was one night her and her boyfriend are asleep in the RV. And she said she had this very vivid dream. And she said standing in her bedroom there was this tall creature that had the legs of like a horse, had sort of the face kind of a man, had these big long horns protruding from its head, had these sharp teeth, had red eyes. And this thing just looked at her and said, "Hello, Deborah." And she said right as it said, "Hello, Deborah," she woke up. Well, when she wakes up, she thinks like, oh, it was just like a bad nightmare. Well, she hears what sounds like something moving on top of the RV. She wakes her boyfriend up and she's like, there's something on top of the RV. And they could hear what sounded like footsteps, but like if it was a horse kind of trotting on top of this RV. And she said all of a sudden they heard this unhumanly scream. And then, boom, whatever this was, it sort of flew off. The next day, she said she went on top of the RV with a ladder. And she looked up on the top of the RV and could see what looked like dirt impressions of hoof prints. So several months pass, and they kept having these weird encounters. And she said this night something just didn't feel right. And she said that her and her boyfriend were watching TV in the RV when all of a sudden something just hits the side of the RV. And she said it was so hard that stuff actually fell off the shelf. And she said then they started hearing these loud screams, and there was something outside of the RV, and it was kind of, flying around like low that they could see it out the window. So her boyfriend jumps in the driver's seat, starts it up, and starts driving away. And they said as they were driving, they hear a loud smashing sound on the top of the RV. Like this thing was trying to get in the top of, the RV. So her boyfriend just pushed on the gas pedal and went as fast as he can. And he said after about 5 miles, whatever this was left. And they managed to go to a friend's house. And when they get out, they could tell something was sort of had thrashed the outside of the RV because it was badly damaged. And Debbie said she would never go back to the Pine Barrens again.
A street vendor in Japan was serving this woman when he noticed that her face started to change. Slowly, she started to shapeshift. Now, people think that this is a skinwalker, but it is not. It seems as if it's the slit-mouthed woman, which is this really creepy Japanese urban legend. Let me show you the video and let me know what you think.
It's called kuyang.
What is that?
People believe that when it goes around, it's only the head, the hair,
and the guts.
organs.
Yeah.
And the organs. And there was a video I'm gonna show you that recently surfaced where they were on a farm and there was like goats, right?
Yeah.
And below it was the kuyang, and it was like slithering on the ground. I'll show you.
I'm pretty sure that's the Philippines too.
It is?
That's a common thing in the Philippines.
Nah, just
I think the lore of that was she was a woman that had a baby.
Yeah.
And I think she was murdered and she lost her child. So because she lost her child, she roams the world looking for pregnant women to torment.
Look, you'll see it. Look, you'll see it. Look, you see the so this is what it looks like. You'll see kind of the hair, and look, you'll see them trying to slither it out.
It's right there, no?
Yeah. Look.
Yeah.
So it's just
bro.
fam. Like it's became so crazy that
This is a real sign in a city called Davao in the Philippines, and there's a lot of history behind it. Now, as you can see in the sign, it says, "Waving children, please wave back," with a pair of children with their arms up. This sign serves as a warning to everyone passing by that there are ghosts of children in the area. It's believed there's a ton of supernatural activity all around the area, and if you don't wave back, these children will come and haunt you. Upon researching this story, I haven't found anyone reporting that they haven't waved back to any of the children. I've only heard accounts of people waving back and then being okay afterwards. So with that information in my head, I can only assume the worst happens if you don't wave back. So obviously, if you're traveling in the Philippines and you see a child wave to you, wave back for your own safety. The last thing you want is a ghost child following you and haunting you for the rest of your life. Let me know what you guys think about this. I also covered a video on the Aswang, which is another Filipino urban legend. Very scary stuff. Definitely go check that out. And if you have any suggestions, let me know.
Never go to Fort Mountain, Georgia. Two young men set out to visit historic Fort Mountain when something tragic happened. While taking a photo of his buddy, one of the boys was so scared of what he saw that he had a heart attack and died at the hospital 2 days later. When the surviving friend later took the photos to be developed, what he saw was horrifying. An entity standing next to him as his buddy snapped the shot.
New York's urban legend is a bit of a weird one. It started off as an urban legend, but shockingly became reality. In the 1970s, Staten Island had its own boogeyman named Cropsey. Now, Cropsey was rumored to be a serial killer with a hook hand that escaped from a mental institution. The killer was said to live in an abandoned asylum called the Willowbrook Mental Institution. At night, he would go out and steal children off the streets and then torture them with his hook. But in other variations of the story, he used a bloody axe. Parents would use this urban legend as the boogeyman. They did it as a scare tactic so they wouldn't be out past curfew. But unfortunately, the rumor became true. Children actually began to go missing. Now this is Andre Rand. He worked at the Willowbrook State School, and he abducted and murdered 5 children. He was caught in 1987 when a young girl went missing. Now people called him the real-life Cropsey, and there was even a documentary about him. Now it's said in the documentary that Rand might have been involved in Satanism, and that he would use the children as a ritual sacrifice. Before he was arrested, this man put fear into the hearts of parents. Luckily, he's serving life in prison, and hopefully he never brings harm to a child again.
This is why you don't break the rules of the Appalachia.
Okay.
This girl was filming a TikTok late at night in an Appalachia parking lot when this happened.
Hey guys, I just got this really cute umbrella from the dollar store and I wanted to show you because I fucking think it's the cutest thing ever. Okay.
out of nowhere, a loud, piercing scream of a woman cut through the air, so sudden and intense that it scared the crap out of her and sent her running in fear. The Appalachia is famous for its deep, dark woods and creepy legends, and one of the most infamous reports is of random, unexplained screams that echo through the night. Screams that in these mountains are not just noise, but often a warning from a spirit or the call of something not human. So what do you think she heard? Was it someone playing a cruel prank in the distance? Or did she really capture one of Appalachia's most unsettling mysteries on camera?
While looking for urban legends, I came across a weird one in Connecticut. This urban legend also originated in two other places, Ohio and Michigan. But we'll be talking about the Connecticut one. The legend I'm talking about is the melon heads. Now there are several variations of the melon heads, but I'm going to talk about the one that I found the most frightening. In Fairfield County, there lies an insane asylum that was burned down in the 1960s. This resulted in the death of all the staff and most of the patients. However, around 10 to 20 inmates were held unaccountable. They supposedly survived and escaped into the woods. Their appearance is the result of the harsh winters in Connecticut. Due to the harsh winters, these guys had to resort to cannibalism and inbreeding. And because of this, these guys developed hydrocephalus. This condition is a buildup of excess fluid in the brain. This results in intellectual and physical impairment, hence why their heads look like the shape of melons. The melon heads allegedly prey upon people who go into their territory. However, individual retellings were actually modified where they ended up, so we don't even know where they are. And that's the story of the melon heads.
There's a city in the Philippines that doesn't appear on maps. It has no roads leading to it, no official records. But some say they've been there. Welcome to the city of Birengen. A place so mysterious, even locals fear speaking its name. Birengen is said to be a ghost city hidden somewhere in northern Samar. Its name means the Black City or the City of the Damned. According to legend, only certain people can enter it. And sometimes, they don't even realize they're inside. The city is said to be filled with gleaming black skyscrapers, modern buildings, and roads far too advanced for any place in the region. But when those who claim to have seen it try to return, it's gone. There are dozens of reports. Truck drivers who take a wrong turn and find themselves on a road that doesn't exist. A child who vanished for days and returned saying they were invited to a city with glowing lights and silent people. Even business people have claimed to receive strange letters. Official invitations from companies based in Birengen City. But the addresses can't be found. Some even believe Birengen is a city of the Encantos, supernatural beings who live in a world parallel to ours. And if they want you to find them, you will. So many people have reported sightings that the local government once had to clarify. Birengen does not exist. But skeptics believe it's a case of mass hysteria or mistaken identity. Still, others think there's something being hidden. Maybe an abandoned military facility. Maybe a lost civilization. Or maybe it's not meant for us to understand. So if you're ever in Samar, and your phone loses signal, the road ahead turns unfamiliar, and the lights around you start to glow, don't stop. Don't answer if someone calls your name. Because you
won't believe what this man captured on camera. This Snow White statue at a Mexican theme park in Veracruz is said to be cursed. In this footage right here, you can see a man filming the statues of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And then, all of a sudden, the Snow White statue blinks. The man who filmed this video snuck into the theme park past midnight to try to prove a legend, as it is said that the statues of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs come to life at night. This theme park, Reino Mágico, receives thousands of visits each month, but few know its actual history. It was built on top of a cemetery.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen. Did the window break?
Could you imagine sitting in a hospital waiting room, noticing a woman walking in wearing a bloody gown with a kitten in her mouth? This is The Expressionless. It was June of 1972 when an unidentified woman in a bloody gown arrived at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. People at the hospital immediately noticed the woman. She did not look like a normal human. She had this mannequin-like appearance. She had no eyebrows, and she had smeared makeup all over her face.
Urban Legends from Each State, Part 43, Texas. A well-known urban legend from Texas called the Goat Man is based on a monster that is claimed to roam the countryside near Lake Worth in Fort Worth. The creature is portrayed as being half man, half goat with shaggy fur and razor-sharp horns. The Goat Man is said to be a very deadly and violent creature who has been known to assault cars and hikers who get too close to his domain. Over the years, the Goat Man has been seen by many people, and some even claim to have obtained photographic proof of his existence. Do you believe that Goat Man is real? Let me know in the comment section.
If a woman in a red trench coat wearing a face mask walked up to you at night and asked you, "Do you think I'm pretty?" what would you say? This is Kuchisake Onna, also known as the slit-mouthed woman, and she is one of Japan's most terrifying urban legends. The story goes that she was once the beautiful wife of a samurai, but while he was away at war, she got lonely and started cheating on him. One day, he came home and caught her in the act. Furious, he raised his sword and slit her mouth from ear to ear, saying, "Let's see who thinks you're pretty now." After her death, she came back as a vengeful spirit, and now she stalks the streets of Japan at night. She will approach you wearing a red trench coat and a surgical face mask to hide her mutilated face. Then she stops you and asks, "Do you think I'm pretty?" If you say no, she will kill you with her long pair of scissors. If you say yes, she will take off the mask and reveal her mutilated mouth and ask, "What about now?" Then she will slice your mouth from ear to ear to match hers. So yeah, neither answer is good, but there are ways to survive Kuchisake Onna. If you respond with so-so, that might confuse her long enough for you to escape. Or you can throw money or candy and she'll stop to pick it up. Creepy, right? Do you think you could survive Kuchisake Onna?
When I first met Luna, she told me about this spirit called Pachong.
Ooh.
I know.
Oh, Pachong, yeah.
Yes. Big fan of it. It's very creepy. Luna, would you like to explain? I know Luna hates this, but
I really hate it. Don't want to see it. Yeah, I can explain it.
Yeah.
My eyes are watering right now because I can feel it, actually. So Pachong actually is so when you die in Muslim culture, when you die, you are covered with like white cloth and cottons. But in a version of Pachong, it's the same thing, except your face is red and your eyes and nose are bleeding. It's very, very scary. And you don't want to see that, guys, because you will suffer a nightmare, because I don't want to see that as well.
Yeah, even that concept of keeping a body around in the shroud for a time before, you know, proper burials or whatever ritual is going on.
Yeah. So my cousin actually, the first time he saw like a spirit or a jinn was actually a Pachong.
Oh no.
He told me he was like 8 years old and he was walking around the house and he saw Pachong like standing in the house. He ran to my uncle, his dad. He ran to my uncle crying, and my uncle just stared at him. Oh, it's just a Pachong, because my uncle is literally used to like seeing evil spirits and scary stuff. So at that point, it's like, oh, it's just Pachong, you're fine.
Yeah.
But it's scary. I never want to see that in my life.